Hello dear students, welcome to Pen and Paper Chemistry on YouTube. This is Chemical Kinetics video number 7 and we are going to talk about numericals in this particular video. So make sure that you have your pen and paper ready because without that it will be difficult to grasp the numericals. A quick recap of what we've got over here, so you can actually make this chart yourself also, and maybe you can add more extra points to this when you go through it. So let's go through it one by one. So first we've got the rate constant for the zero order first order reaction listed here, right? So would you like to write down the units of the rate constant for a zero order reaction and a first order reaction? Go ahead. Let me see how many of you can recall. So we have rate constant for a zero order reaction is defined as, or is defined in terms of mole per liter per time or moles per decimeter cube per time. Time would be, as I've been saying earlier, minutes, second, hours, years, anything. Whereas for a first order reaction, the unit is simply per time. Half-life period, we've got the initial concentration divided by 2 into the half-life period. Whereas for a first order reaction, we have 0.693 upon T half, where T half stands for the half-life period. Now, if you notice over here, I have not given the formula in terms of T half. I've carried down the same K so that it's easier to recall. The graph of concentration against time, the initial concentration against time vis-a-vis the integrated rate law equation. So we've got concentration, initial concentration against time, and we've got a graph here where the value of K is given by the negative of the slope, whereas for a first order reaction we plot a graph of the log to the base 10 of the initial concentration of the reactant vis-a-vis time, and the value of K, rate constant, is given by negative of the slope divided by 2.303. Half-life against concentration. This was the fourth graph that we had drawn. So we've got the half-life on the y-axis and we've got the initial concentration on the x-axis. Notice the difference in the two graphs. This very much corresponds to our algebraic expression where we know that the rate constant is independent of concentration for a first order reaction, whereas it is directly dependent on the initial concentration for a zero order reaction. Mind you, we are talking about the half-life period being dependent on the initial concentration. Okay, same way the half-life period being independent of the initial concentration, because if you notice in our expression there is no initial concentration over here. Ready to go? Okay, I'm going to first share the question with you. Now many of these questions are similar to what you may find in your textbooks. I have simply played around with numbers to give an originality to the questions and also to give you an opportunity to try those questions yourself. The question says if the rate constant of a reaction is 4.5 into 10 to the power minus 14 per minute, what is the order of this reaction? Now here you have to go back to, I think, video number 5 where we spoke about rate constant, and we also defined the unit. So if you remember how we defined the unit, yes, correct. So what we've got over here is, this is a first order reaction, because our unit of rate constant over here only has the value of time. There is no concentration over here. You see over here, this is what we revised just now under the rate constant. Got it? Okay, so it's a first order reaction. Now, determine the half-life of this reaction. What's the relation between the half-life and rate constant? If you would like to try this question yourself, please by all means pause the video, go ahead, try it, and then you can tally the answers. So we've got the answer as 1.54 into 10 to the power 13 minutes, right? Have you got it right? Okay, so what we'll do is let's play a small star game. So every answer or every question that you get right, let's start giving you a star over here, or I'm going to mark it as an asterisk. I'm not too good at making stars. You are my stars. Yeah, so you have the asterisk over here. So I've got 2 asterisks here. Now let's see the third part of the question. What does it say? It says if the rate constant was 4.5 into 10 to the power minus 14 mole per liter per minute, right? What would be the order of the reaction? Now see over here again, look at the unit. From the unit, can you decipher what is the order of the reaction? And can you determine the half-life of this reaction in such a case? Now I've asked you the question as a flow chart. If yes, go ahead and calculate it. If no, then why do you say so? Try this question yourself. Now for the unit of the rate constant, look at the unit of the rate constant. It's moles per liter per minute. Now how had we defined the unit of K, the rate constant, as concentration to the power 1 minus n per time. So I'm going to equate the 2 sides. What will happen? My per time is the same. I'm left with mole per liter. Now since there is no power, it means to the power of 1. Concentration again is moles per liter. That means my 1 minus n is equals to 1. Therefore my n is equals to 0. Now some of you may have just answered by looking at the unit of the rate constant. Even that is fine. This is a generic way that I am telling you in order to determine the order of the reaction if there is some complex value given, or if it's a fractional value, then you cannot determine by just looking at the value of the rate constant, right? Because n is the order of the reaction, and you remember n can be a fractional value as well. So if it's a 0 order reaction, that means our rate constant and half-life, how will they be related? Yes, we will have T half is equals to the initial concentration divided by 2 into the rate constant. Now I know the value of rate constant, but do I know the initial concentration? No. So if you see over here, I stop at 1.11 into 10 to the power 13 into the initial concentration of the reactant A, which is, yes, this is unknown. So for me to determine the half-life of this reaction completely is not possible unless we know the value of A 0. That means the initial concentration or concentration of the reactant taken. So all in all, our answer would be no, and we would explain it with this explanation. Is it clear? If you are not clear, my suggestion would be pause the video here. Try doing the question yourself. It's completely pointless trying to just look at the screen and trying to understand the numerical. It makes a lot of difference when you try the numerical yourself. Believe me, I'm talking from a student's perspective. So tell me, how many of you could remember this relationship to determine the rate constant, the unit of rate constant? If you could remember, then what do we have for today? We will have, yes, if you could remember, you get 2 asterisks, right? Oh yes, by the way, if you got the previous one right, then that's another asterisk. So we've got the asterisk challenge going great, right? Now, are you ready to attempt a question on your own? Let's see. Here's a question listed for you. For the following reaction, N2O5 breaking down to give you NO2 plus half O2, all reactants and products in the form of a gas. The initial concentration of N2O5 is 1.2 into 10 to the power minus 4 moles per liter at 298 Kelvin. The concentration after 120 minutes was 0.2 into 10 to the power minus 4 mole per liter. Temperature remaining constant. Now, why did I give temperature remaining constant? Because the rate constant varies with temperature. So, the first part of the question says calculate the rate constant of this reaction. How are you going to attempt this numerical? I would say, as always, jot down the values, right? Tabulate what is given to you, the initial concentration. That means I have got A0 over here as 1.2 into 10 to the power minus 4 mole per liter. Temperature is given to me as 298 Kelvin, although I don't think we would need that. The concentration after 120 minutes, that means the time is given to you as 120 minutes, was, that means concentration after time t. So if you want, you can write 120 over here or just a t. It became 0.20 into 10 to the power minus 4 mole per liter. Calculate the rate constant. How are you going to determine? Now, how do I know whether I apply the zero order formula or the first order reaction formula, right? That means there is something wrong in the question. So, let me give you the additional piece of information. For the following first order reaction, right? Go ahead and do this question now on your own. So if you notice, our first and foremost step would be to jot down the formula and then go ahead with substituting the values. The time is given to you as 120 minutes, log of 1.2 into 10 to the power minus 4 divided by 0.20 into 10 to the power minus 4. Now, for those curriculums in which a calculator is allowed, it would be very easy. Whereas for those students in whose curriculum calculator is not allowed, I have put a separate 2-part video on logarithms on this channel. I will share the link also with you. It makes your concepts very, very clear in logarithms, and you can do any complex calculations very easily using the log tables given to you. Go ahead and solve this question now. So when I solve this question, I get a value something around 0.01493, right? Which I list in the exponential form, and I will have 1.49 into 10 to the power minus 2 per minute. Yes, there is no unit for concentration because it will cancel out over here, right? Okay, so how many of you got this right? So we have another star for you over here. Wait, we are not yet done. We have another part of this question to this question. What is the half-life of this reaction? Now that you know the rate constant, can you determine the half-life? Try doing this question yourself. Don't wait for me to give you the answer. Pause the video, try it. Ready to tally your answer? It's 46.51. Actually, the answer after the decimal place could be a little different depending on whether you are using the log tables or whether you are doing it with a calculator. Okay. Now, is my answer complete? I'll get only half asterisk over here. There's something missing in this. Tell me. Absolutely. The unit. Please remember that your answer has 2 parts. One is the value, the other is the unit. The value of your answer without the unit has no meaning. So if you want an A1, you want full marks for your answer, make sure that you write the answer with the correct unit. Let's see if there's any other part of the question. Oh yes, there's a third part to this question. The question says, in how much time would the reaction be 99.9% complete? Meaning to say, in how much time would the reaction be almost complete? Why are we using the word almost? Because if you remember, the graph that we had drawn, yes, it almost went parallel to the x-axis, correct? Okay, so in how much time would the reaction be 99.9% complete? How are you going to do this? Now you have to understand over here that, okay, let's start writing it. In how much time? That means I have to find small t first. Would the reaction be 99.9% complete? Now let me say that the initial concentration is A naught. Now when I'm saying 99.9% complete, that means my AT would be A0, right? Okay, the square brackets. A0 minus 99.9%. Now when I say percent means out of 100 of A0 has been used up, because it says that this much is complete. That means this much of the reactant is already consumed. So how much of it is left after time t? That will be the initial concentration minus the concentration which has been used up. So when we simplify it, yes, we will get A naught minus 0.999 times of A naught. So this would be simply like x minus 0.999x. Remember from your algebra? So what is the coefficient of x over here? As 1. So 1 minus 0.999. What do you get? Into A0. That is your concentration of the reactant after time t. How much does this come to? Yes, 0.001 times of A naught. Now what is the next step that you have to do? Yes, absolutely. Just put the value of the data in your expression for a first order reaction, log of A naught upon concentration after time t. Give me the value now. Let's see if you get a star. Got it? Yes. I'm waiting for you to do the question. So what do? We just put the value. Now you've got over here, because A naught and A naught will cancel out. So we'll have 10 to the power 3. Yes, this naught has to come out. So we can put it out over here. And log of 10 to the power 3 is 3. And we get the value of around 463.69 minutes. Now if you notice, the half-life that you had got, right? It is 46.51 minutes, whereas the time taken for completion, 99.9% completion, is 463.69. If I divide this 463.69 by the half-life, this comes to 9.969 and so on. Yes, I am doing it on the calculator, but yes, it is very simple to do it purely by division as well. Now if you see over here, this is approximately 10. In other words, the time taken to complete 99.9% of the reaction for a first order reaction is approximately 10 times the half-life period. Now if you recall, some of the books and some of the curriculum books also have this question, this type of a question in their book, where It's a very generic question and you are not given any values, unlike what I have taken over here as K. If you see over here, K, whether I am talking about the half-life period or I am talking about 60% completion, 70% completion, 80% completion, irrespective of that, our value of K remains the same throughout the reaction, right? So we get, and you are asked to prove that the time required for 99.9% completion is approximately 10 times the half-life period. So I have tried to take up that question with the help of this example. So if you've got your answer close to 463 point, now there could be differences in the digits after decimal, because as I said, there's a difference in if you are using a logarithmic table and a calculator. If you've got that right, I'll give you an asterisk over here. Good. Are you happy? Are you happy with the way you're working and your way you're working hard for yourself? That's very nice. Okay, now that I have given you a practice of two different type of questions, here's a challenge question for you. Rate constant of a reaction is 100 per second. What clue does it give you? Okay, so the first part is, what is the order of the reaction? Did I hear a murmur of first order reaction? Oh yes, very good. Next, the second part. In how much time will the initial concentration reduce to 1/5 of its initial concentration? There's a third part also to this question. I actually played around with the words a little bit, and I've given you the third part, which says, in how much time will the concentration reduce by 1/5 of its initial concentration? Let me try and fit both the parts onto the same screen. Look at the two questions. The B part says, in how much time will the initial concentration reduce to? And the second part says reduce by. This is the trick in the question. Try it now. Go ahead. Pause the video. Why do you want the answers? Why do you want ready-made solutions? Do something for yourself. Try. Just a small hint over here. So for example, you have 100 coins. Now if I say, how many coins would you have if you reduce them to 10 coins by 10 coins? You understand the difference? So if you are reducing them to 10 coins, obviously if you are bringing it down to 10 coins, then it's 10 coins here. If you reduce them by 10 coins, that means I take away 10 coins from you. So how many coins would you have left? 90 coins. So that's the catch in the question. Now try it. Let's tally our answers. So we've got over here, as I've been telling you earlier, always list down, jot down the data which you are provided. So we are given in this particular question, we are given the rate constant, which is 100 per second, right? So rate constant is 100 per second. Initial concentration is not mentioned, so I've taken it as a naught. Then concentration after time t, because it says that the concentration is reduced to 2. That means your concentration after time t is 1/5 of the initial concentration. So when I substitute the values in this part, I will substitute the values as A0 and 1/5 of A0, because my AT is 1/5 of A0. So 5 goes into the numerator and I will have to just deal with log 5 over here. And 2.303 into log 5 divided by the rate constant, what do you get? 1.609 into 10 to the power minus 2 seconds. You got this right, you get a star. Let's go on to the C part. In how much time will the concentration reduce by? So if it is reduced by, that means our concentration after time t would be the initial concentration or the starting concentration. Take away 1/5 of the initial concentration. You are reducing by this much number. So that gives you a value of, got it? Yes. So 1 minus 1 by 5, you get your 4/5 of A naught. Again, what do you have to do? You just have to substitute the values because it's a first order reaction. 2.303 upon K log of A naught upon AT, that is concentration after time T. Substitute the values and give me the answer. 2.231 into 10 to the power minus 3 second, right? Don't forget the unit. Got it? Let's see if there's any other part to the question. Actually, we can try and find out the half-life period also of this reaction. Go ahead, find out the half-life of this reaction. What formula are you going to use? Yes, absolutely, because it's a first order reaction, so half-life period is 0.693 divided by the rate constant. So 0.693 divided by, what's the rate constant you've got? Oh, 100, it's a super easy question. 0.00693 or 6.93 into 10 to the power minus 3 seconds. And for seconds, we have to put the symbol S according to the new IUPAC system. I've been making the small mistake, but mistake is a mistake. Anyway, so 6.93 into 10 to the power minus 3 seconds becomes the half-life of this particular reaction. Did you get it right? Do we give you a star? Oh yes, you are definitely a star. Okay, now this one is a little long question but interesting as to where your concept of chemical kinetics is becoming useful. You have to remember that radioactivity, for any substance, it's a first order reaction. And radioactive substances have a very long half-life. For example, in this question, the half-life of the radioactive element I'm talking about, I've taken a hypothetical one, is 30 years, but it can be many years, right? Much more than that. In other words, the time taken for that radioactive element to disintegrate to half of its initial concentration or value is 30 years. Imagine. Now, if somebody is exposed to these radioactive substances, definitely these are very, very harmful for plants as well as animals alike. Also, their half-life is very long. Now, let's suppose if somebody is exposed to 1 micro. What does micro stand for? 10 to the power minus 6 grams. So that's a very small, if you consider it in the macroscopic world, this is a very, very small quantity, right? If I'm exposed to 1 microgram of a radioactive element X with a half-life of, we're taking 30 years, how much of it will remain in my body after 15 years, assuming it is not lost by metabolic activity? So you have to remember over here that it's the first order reaction. Radioactivity all governed by first order. So what do you have to find out? The question is long, but you have to sift the required information from this. So if for me as a student, what do I need? By the way, this is 4th question in the series. The previous one was the 3rd one. I had numbered it incorrectly. Okay, so what have we got over here? The initial concentration of the radioactive substance is 1 microgram. Half-life period is 30 years. I have to determine the concentration after 15 years. That means what do we have to determine? We have to determine AT. Not concentration, sorry, this is the mass that we are talking about. So how much of it would be left in the body after a time interval of 15 years? Now, if I have to determine AT, that means I need to use the expression K is equals to 2.303 upon T log of AT, sorry, A0 by AT, right? But I don't even have the rate constant. So how can I determine the rate constant? Yes, of course, we know that the rate constant is given by the expression 0.693 divided by the half-life period. So the calculation becomes a lot easier. Now this is 1 microgram, the mass of the initial mass of the radioactive substance. So that gives me the expression 0.693 upon T half is equals to 2.303 divided by the time. Now I can substitute the time over here as 15 because I am being asked how much of it will be left after 15 years, right? Log of 1, I am going to leave the microgram as microgram. I am not going to change it to grams unless required. And AT is what we have to determine. Now, if you have gone through or if you are confident about the topic of logarithms, then this is very easy for you because you have to take the antilog. So, but for those who are not very conversant with this, I'm going to explain it over here. Log of 1 upon AT. So what do we get over here? I'll get log of 1 by AT is equals to 0.693 into 15 upon 30 into 2.303. Whatever you get, let's see what we get. So when we get log of this equals 0.1504, we take the antilog. So antilog gives me the value of 1 upon AT is equals to 1.4138. Now this is the reciprocal of the concentration after time t or the mass after time t. So what is the actual mass after time t? That is 1 divided by 1.4138, which gives me a value of 0.707 microgram, or if we leave it as one significant digit, this would be simply 0.7 microgram as the answer. So you imagine, even after 15 years, I have not even done away with half of the radioactive substance. It's still present to the extent of 0.7 microgram. So you realize the gravity of the situation, the gravity of the problem as to what exposure to the radioactive substance can do to the body and why it is considered so harmful. If you got this question right, there's another asterisk and a big, big smiley. Well done, you've come so far. Now, if you notice, in this particular video, I have taken questions pertaining to concentration. I have taken questions pertaining to mass. We have not spoken at all about questions pertaining to pressure when you have to deal with pressure, because that is where the real difficulty arises and some of the students get nervous about it. So I'm going to take it up as a separate video and clear your concepts on that. So stay tuned till then. Stay happy healthy, and take care of yourself. See you in the next video.